My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 24. The sluggard or the lazy man buries his hand in the dish, but will not even bring it back to his mouth. As you read Proverbs, we run into the lazy person or the sluggard fairly often. And I'm not going to read all the verses that talk about laziness, but it becomes quite obvious that laziness and wisdom are not compatible roommates. They don't get along. You can be lazy or you can be wise, but you can be both at the same time, and Proverbs makes that exceedingly clear. I think Proverbs 13:4 gets at the heart of the verse we want to consider. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the soul of the diligent is made fat. And here we see the contrast between the sluggard and the diligent. Verse 19:24, we see the degree to which the lazy person has succumbed to his laziness and the outcome of that. We see why the sluggard craves and gets nothing. He buries his hand in the dish, but will not even bring it back to his mouth. Proverbs 26:15 says, the sluggard buries his hand in the dish, and he's weary of bringing it to his mouth again. It's just too much work to bring your hand from the bowl to your mouth. And is that not the epitome of laziness? Derek Kidner, in his short commentary on Proverbs, describes 4 characteristics of the sluggard laid out for us in Proverbs. And we need to remember, as we're talking about the sluggard, or the lazy person, we're not talking about an invalid. We're not talking about someone who's sick in bed. He's not incapacitated. He's healthy. He's able to work. But he's just lazy. 4 things about this person in Proverbs. Number 1, he will not begin things. Chapter 6, verse 9 to 10. How long will you lie, O sluggard? Lie down, O sluggard. When will you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. The sluggard doesn't have an answer, and he hates it when you push him for an answer. I'll get up when I feel like getting up. He doesn't know when he's going to get up. Still a little drowsy, just a little more sleep. He rolls over in his bed. He squanders his opportunities, not in big ways, but just a little folding of the hands, just a few more minutes. And little by little, he surrenders to his laziness. Inch by inch, minute by minute, his opportunities just slip away. But in the rare event that he does get out of bed and start something, the second thing about this person is he will not finish it. The effort of beginning takes too much out of him. The impulse dies. The meal goes cold. It spoils. He doesn't have the initiative to carry through what he began. It's too much work. Thirdly, he will not face things. He comes to believe his own excuses. There's a lion in the street. He's a master of rationalization. He's wiser in his own eyes than 7 men that could render a reason, Proverbs says. He makes a habit of taking the easy way, the path of least resistance. He's self-deceived. He sees himself as a victim of the economy. Everyone's against him. And consequently, he's restless. That's number 4. He's filled with unsatisfied desires. Helpless in the face of the consequences of his laziness. He's like a hedge of thorns. He's useless. To anyone who would seek to help him and employ him, he's useless. He won't get out of bed. He won't show up on time. He won't do his job. He won't be responsible. And those unsatisfied desires bring us back to our verse. Why are his desires unsatisfied? He buries his hand in his dish, but will not even bring it back to his mouth. He's got this delicious meal sitting in front of him, but he never enjoys it. Why? Because he's too lazy to put it in his mouth. How sad is that? And to what degree the sluggard has given in to his laziness, as we said earlier. He's driven by cravings to put his hand in the bowl. And obviously the bowl is not empty. Someone may have provided it for him, has doubtfully prepared it for himself. Someone tried to give him a break. But the sluggard, when he hits this point in life, can't be helped. The verse doesn't say he can't get his hand out of the bowl. He's not paralyzed. It's not too heavy. He just doesn't have enough ambition or motivation to even feed himself. Someone has to do it for him. It's the only way he's going to enjoy what's in the bowl. You can have food banks and free food, government handouts, all it does is reinforce his laziness and his restlessness, his self-pity. He's too lazy to even go pick it up himself. There are many people who struggle to get by, and we understand that. They may live on or below the poverty level, but they're hardworking, responsible people. They appreciate help when it comes their way, but they work. They work 2 or 3 jobs if necessary to get by, and we should help those people out if we can. There's the working poor, and then there's just the poor people who are poor because they're too lazy to work. And by work, we don't mean they're not going to go out and become a CEO of a company, but just do something. Go rake leaves for somebody. Go shovel their yard. Anything to show you have some ambition and you're willing to work. Use your hands. You're not just sitting around waiting for people to do stuff for you. The lazy person, the sluggard, is a drain on society. They could work, but they won't. They have 1,000 reasons why. They won't even go look for work. They can walk 5 miles to get a free handout, but they don't want to work because their knees are bad. They just don't want to work. There's an old saying that says, give a man a fish and he has food for the day. Teach a man how to fish and he has food for a lifetime. Well, the sluggard has no interest in learning how to fish. There's a lion in the street. What if I drown in the lake? What if I fall out of the boat? What if I prick my finger when I'm baiting the hook with a worm and it gets infected? And on and on and on he goes. He just wants the fish to be given to him. He wants the fish in the bowl. And then he wants the fish that's in the bowl. He wants you to feed it to him. The sluggard does not plow after autumn, so he begs during harvest and has nothing. Proverbs 24 says he begs. He's reaping what he has sown. Actions have consequences. 21:25 says his hand refuses to work. That's the issue. That's the point of this whole thing. Now, I think if we look at the scriptures and we look at Proverbs, we find that we are under no obligation to help the sluggard, to help the lazy person, other than to help him to get out of bed. So we need to keep that in mind. Yes, it sounds cruel, but Thessalonians says if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. We need to work with our hands if we're able, and be willing to work with our hands. And the sluggard wants nothing to do with that. He wants to be fed. He wants to be taken care of. He wants to be everybody else to do what he's unwilling to do for himself. And there's consequences to that. The hunger pains he feels when he's laying in his bed need to be the motivation for him to get up and try to earn some money so he can feed himself. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish, but will not even bring it back to his mouth. It's sad. It's a sad reality that we have such people there. And there are people, like I said, who are poor, but they're hardworking people. But this is not the sluggard. He doesn't want to work. And so we shouldn't enable him. He needs to feel the results of the consequences of his actions. So may this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.